Try a different one for a moment. What's something or someone you could feel grateful for if you wanted to? What's something in your life, a moment or a situation or a person, that if you really wanted to, you could feel deeply grateful for that moment in your life, that meaning, that opportunity? How many can think of a moment or a person or a situation you could feel very grateful for? Raise your hand if you can do it right there at home, wherever you are. Let me see. Beautiful. How do you breathe when you feel super grateful, so appreciative? What's the look on your face when you feel so grateful for a beautiful moment like that? Birth of a child, moment you met the love of your life, moments when you broke through after having such a challenge, people you're grateful for. How does it feel when you're really grateful? What do you focus on most when you're grateful? How many feel that feeling of gratitude in your body right now? Yes. Why? Because you're focusing on it. See, if you don't take control of your focus, I can promise you the news will follow you in your pocket, and it is not looking to inspire you. The news is not looking to educate you. It's no longer looking to inform you. It used to be about informing you. Now it has only one purpose. It must startle you. If the news doesn't startle you, you don't pay attention. And they only get paid if they get your attention. We are not in an information economy. That died a decade ago. There's too much information. We're drowning in information. We're starving for wisdom. They all know if it bleeds, it leads. So if you're not careful, if you don't control your own focus, you're gonna feel like hell. Coronavirus. I'm not here to tell you what to do or not to do. Wherever you are, you should follow the rules, I'm sure, of what's there. But let's be honest. We thought it was 3% death rate. That's how we shut the whole world down. It's not even 1%. They didn't know how many people had it. You can't know the death rate. We don't know how many people have the virus. I just interviewed Nobel Prize winners. Dr. Michael Levitt from Stanford, heads of Cleveland Clinic, 12 doctors. And guess what all of them said? What you're watching on the news just isn't true. They keep telling the same story. They tell you about rates of infection, which is just tests. What matters is deaths, and they're through the floor. And the real number of deaths is 0.12. That's 1/10 of 1%. That's the same as the flu. And I don't know if you saw, the CDC came out and said 6% of all 180,000 deaths in the United States, 6% were just COVID. All the others had comorbidities. I mean, on the death certificate, they listed multiple heart attack, cancer, and COVID, because they tested for it. We're living in a place of fear. The real virus is fear. And we're gonna get through this. We're gonna get the other side of this. The question is, are you gonna be damaged by it, or are you gonna start living now? Are you gonna start building now? Are you gonna focus on what you're here to create and how much there is to be grateful for right now? Because you're not gonna get any momentum listening to the news. And they're not bad people, they're in business and they need your attention. That's how they get the advertising. And they know they gotta shock you to get that to happen. So you gotta take control of your own mind. Let's try another one. I want you to think of a moment in your life. Do you ever have something that made you happen that was so stupid, either you did or someone else did something stupid that you couldn't stop laughing, either at yourself or someone else? Do you ever laugh so hard shit came out your nose at inappropriate moments? Who knows what I'm talking about here? Who's ever laughed so hard you couldn't stop laughing? You were coughing, you were laughing so hard, right? Think of a moment right now when you just laughed out loud like crazy. Think of something so stupid, so silly, and made you laugh out loud. And then I want you to do this. I want you to point at somebody nearby and just fake laugh if you have to, but laugh uncontrollably. Go ahead, point around you. Laugh out loud, even if you gotta fake it. Laugh hard, go! Clapping!
Clap along if you feel like happiness is the truth. Clap along if
uncontrollable, even if you gotta fake it. Ah! How many of you, when you fake laughed, it actually led to a real laugh? Raise your hand. Yes, that's called priming the pump. If you put yourself in the physiology, the state of laughing, even fake, and you keep doing it, real laughter becomes. And if you do it after a while, it won't be fake laughter. You'll wire yourself to laugh. Which would be better? To be pissed off all the time? Worried all the time? Crying your eyes out? Or laughing your ass off? Which would you prefer? Which one would keep you more resourceful to come up with better answers? The laughter. So we can train ourselves to be depressed. We can train ourselves to be angry. How many of you know somebody who's always pissed off about something? How many of somebody who's always worried about something? If there's nothing to worry about in their own life, they worry about people they don't even know. How many of you know someone who's not really funny, but they think they are? And they crack themselves up, and you find yourself laughing, don't you? Not because of what they said, because they're laughing their ass off, and you find yourself doing it too. So you can catch other people's states, which means you can also lead other people. If you go there first, you can take people where you want them to go. But you're not going to take them to a place you're not, emotionally. Let's do one more. Think of one of the most romantic or sexy moments of your life. I know you have so many, pick just one. Pick one of those romantic, sexy moments in your life, and think of a moment that was really romantic or sexy or beautiful. How are you breathing in that moment? What was the look on your face in that sensual, sexy, romantic moment? You might want to close your eyes for this one. Think of a sexy moment, a romantic moment. If you've never had one, make one up. A sexy, romantic moment. How are you breathing at that moment? What does it feel like at that moment? And just for a second, make a sound that feels good to you while you're remembering this moment. Make any sound at all. Go for it. Come make a sound. Come on. Make a sound. Come on. Make a sound. Make a sound. Make a sound.
Can do so much.
Make that sound a little louder. Make it an enjoyable sound. How many were able to remember those moments a little bit, feel some of those moments? Some of you are like, I can be depressed in person, but not in ecstasy. Let's do one last one. Think of a moment in your life when you felt really excited about something. Can you think of a moment when you were really excited about something? Something that lit you up. Could be anything. Could be in your business, could be in your kids, could be in a relationship, your life. How do you breathe? Who can think of a moment when you were really excited about something in your life? Raise your hand if you can think of a moment when you're really excited. Awesome. How do you breathe when you're really excited? Remember that moment. Focus on it. Feel that moment of excitement. What was the look on your face when you were excited? That's right. How are you breathing when you're really excited? Now, make the sound you make when you're excited. Make the sound you make. Stand up and use your body like when you're excited. Come on.
Let's do it all.
Come on.
Let's do it.
Here we go.
We got it.
Come on now.
Easy come, easy go.
That's it.
Feel the shot, body rock.
That's it.
Up and down.
Make some noise that makes you feel good. Make the sound of excitement. High five the people around you, say, I rock, and so do you. Or high five them virtually. Grab a seat, feeling strong. Now, so let's see what we've learned. Let's see what we've learned. Oh yes, in your chair, stay in your chair, but create even more energy in your chair, everybody, at home, everywhere. Come on! That's it! Nice job, Erica Marty! Sophia Poo! Kalboon! Dennis Team from Toronto! Where's my Singapore jazz line? Diamond Malaysia! USGS Texas! Yeah, Carla Moore! Yeah! Elaine, Jamondre, and Austin! That's it! That's it! Oh! Heck, even the card people are starting to move. I can see it now. Now, if you feel great, make a fist and say yes. Say yes. Say yes. Do you know the more you put yourself in a state like this physically, the more you wire yourself to go in that state. See, in order to have something last, so it's not a pump up, you know, Stanford did a study and they took one of my programs and they monitored. I wore a strap, I've done this about 9 times. It's a $65,000 device and it monitors everything in your physiology. Jumps, force velocity, heart rate variability, everything. And they come and they take my blood during every break, see my lactic acid levels and so forth. And then they do it with the audience. And it's crazy because we just did it with a virtual audience and got the same result. People end up mirroring my physiology and then they feel the same feelings I feel. It's like, if you focus on the same things, you'll feel similar too. If you read someone's book and they wrote it, say an autobiography, let's say. The beautiful thing about reading autobiographies, when I was young and I had no role models and there was no web, I went to the library. Your focus will change your state, but the one I start with is the physical body. It's called physiology. It's a fancy word for how you use your physical body. The way you move, the way you use your voice. If I was talking to you more like they came to you and said, here he is, the author of Unlimited Power, Awaken the Giant Within, Money Master the Game, the one and only Tony Robbins. And I walk out like this and go, hi.
Here's a little song I wrote.
Good morning. I'm Tony Robbins and you're not. I'm here to share with you how you can have more personal power in your life and really succeed. And over the next 1,000 hours of this seminar. Who's ever been in this environment? You just want to shake somebody. Who knows what I'm talking about here, right? Like, what's going on? Your physiology is also a habit or a pattern. The way you use physiology will change your state in an instant. Right now, make a sound of total excitement. Go for it, as loud as you can. Go and say. Does it change the way you feel, yes or no? It changes not only the way you feel, it changes your biochemistry. Let me show you something. Drive, which will push you through the rejection. Also, your stress hormone called cortisol drops 25% just standing like this for 2 minutes. And lastly, your risk tolerance increases 33%. It means you're 33% more likely to go for it. Just standing like this. Now, I don't think you should walk around like going like, yes, I'm with Janess. Let me talk with you. However, can you feel the difference when someone walks up to you like this and goes, yeah, hi, what I have to talk to you about this? It's very different, isn't it? I don't teach just doing this, but I want you to know if this is all you do for 2 minutes, you will have that much biochemistry change. But now, let your hands loose and just move your body weight to feel strong. Make a strong movement, any sort of, make a strong movement. Make a move that makes you feel strong. Make a move. Make a move. Make a move. Make a move. Shout the word yes. Say yes. Say yes. Say yes. Make the sound of unstoppable intensity as loud as you can. Go. Do it again, everybody at home. Make the sound of unstoppable intensity. Go. One more time. Go. Make the sound. Wake it up. Oh, come on, come on, come on. Come on. Walk in the jungle with me. Oh. Now keep feeling this for a moment. Keep feeling it. Breathe it. Feel strong. Say yes. Say yes. If you feel good, say yes. Say yes. Say yes. I got a question for you. Could you make it a habit to be passionate? Could you make it a habit to be determined? A habit to be playful when someone directs you, to get playful instead of hurt? Yes or no? Could you train yourself to be pissed off by doing it too often? Could you train yourself to being sad or depressed by going in that state too often? Could you make it a habit? Could you make it a habit to be strong, yes or no? See, if you want to train any animal, they do this at UC Irvine, University of California, Irvine. They don't support it, but they've done it for years. They took these monkeys and they taped 4 of the monkeys' fingers down. And they bend this one finger 10,000 times. And then they untape the fingers of the monkey. And what do you think the monkey does for no frickin' good reason after that? Right? Because whatever you reinforce, every time you do it, you make a wire of connection. Imagine your brain. Neurons are in your brain. Neurons is a big word for nerve cells. And when you do this, a group of neurons make a connection. You do it again, it's 2 threads. Do it 10,000 times, you got an iron bar. You're wired to do this. You got high-speed internet. And so you do it for no reason. So what? I'm not a monkey. What's your point? How many of you go to work or drive to the market or something the same way every time? And one day you're in your car, you're supposed to get off on that turn or that whatever the hell it is you're supposed to do, and you're on the phone or your brain's somewhere else, and you get off even though you're not supposed to get there. Who's done this before? You're monkeys. You've been wired. But here's the thing, you can wire yourself for pain, you can wire yourself for pleasure. That's why I said, I don't give a shit how you feel. Do it, do it, do it. You do it, do it, do it, and all of a sudden, it'll be easy. Right? All it is pushing yourself beyond. You know, I have some pretty amazing friends over the years that I've met, just extraordinary business people. And some of the ladies in the room, how many ladies know what Spanx is? Raise your hand if you know what Spanx is. Yes, almost every woman does. Guys aren't quite sure what the hell that shit is. But some guys do anyway. But the woman who started Spanx, her name is Sarah Blakely. She's the youngest self-made billionaire, literally, in history. And I gave them my recipe and I got a percentage of the profit. He spent 2 years driving in his car in his rumpled white suit, sleeping in his car for 2 years, got 1,009 no's before he got his first yes. And as a result, changed the eating habits of a world, unfortunately. Right? But he did. See, Sarah Blakely got so many no's, her final yes was at Nordstrom's, and the woman was saying, no, I'm not interested, rolling her eyes, this is bullshit. And she said, ma'am, she grabbed her. She said, come with me to the bathroom. And the woman, what? She said, come with me to the bathroom. And she was so passionate, the woman followed. And she took her clothes off and put on these Spanx, and the woman saw there was nothing there, and all the words didn't matter. She goes, that's genius. But guess what? They ordered them, but that didn't work. She still went, and she went for 2 years to every Nordstrom's and they're only doing it because they're in a certain state. Just like if you were at the funeral and then you could laugh 30 seconds later, how fast can our states change, my friends? How fast? In a heartbeat, if you know what to do. There's 2 things you've learned to do so far. You can change someone's focus, like when I asked you something. Else is stuck. The fastest way is to change out of that stuck state is using their physiology. And I'll give you a historic example. I got a phone call from President George Bush Sr., not George W., years ago. It was right after the wall fell in Berlin and communism blew up, right? Now we're trying to bring it back in some parts of the country here, socialism. People don't understand. They weren't around back then. They didn't know what it really means. It's not free stuff. That's not how it works. But the bottom line is, I get this phone call from the president, and he says, Tony, he said, listen, we're putting this group of 100 people together to have a discussion about where we're going to go with the world now that the wall has fallen, now that communism's fallen. What do we do as a world? How do we bring people together with some common values? And he said, so we're bringing together these leaders from all over the world. He said, we've got Mr. Gorbachev is coming, Mr. Mitterrand from France, Maggie Thatcher. This is back in 1988, 89, right after the wall fall, right? So he says, we got all these people. He said, myself, and he said, 100 other people, and we're going to discuss it for 3 days. And he said, you've been selected as one of the people. I couldn't believe it. I'm 30 years old. I'm like, are you kidding? He said, can you come? Here's the dates. I said, I'm there, right? And then he said to me, he said, Tony, here are the dates, give me the dates. I jotted them down. And he said, where are you going to be like the day or two before? And I looked on my calendar and I was going to be in New York City. I said, Tony, that's incredible. He said, I'm wondering if I could ask you a favor. He said, Mr. Gorbachev is in New York the day before the program. The program was in Colorado. And he said, but he's no longer president of his country, and they're giving him no resources. So I understand you have a plane. Would you be willing to bring him on your plane, since you're coming from New York anyway, to the event? Let me think about this for -2 milliseconds. Do I want to take the gentleman who was one of the 2 people that ended the Cold War? Most people, they don't even remember what that was like. The Cold War made terrorism look like nothing. Either country could push their finger on a button and the whole world would end. That's how many nuclear missiles were tied and pointed at each other. That's how bad it was. And 2 men, Reagan and Gorbachev, ended that after half a century of total assault, basically, on each other in a Cold War. And I'm a student of history, so I'm like, you bet. So here's what happens. I said, what does he need? And he goes, well, he has all these people. And at the time, I was chartering planes. I didn't own my own plane. And I used to charter little planes, like a Learjet. And Gorbachev has like 9 people, so I needed a Gulfstream. So I said, okay, I'll get the Gulfstream. And I look it up, and the cost of the Gulfstream back then was like 40 grand. It was like for the trip. I'm like, holy shit. But I committed to this. So I called back, and I said to the president's office, I took her secretary and said, listen, I got this group of kids that I'm putting through college, and they're in Texas. And I said, I wonder if Mr. Gorbachev would let me interview him for 10 minutes, and he could send some messages to the kids. So Gorbachev talking to these kids from Houston from an impoverished area would be pretty cool. And he called and said he'll do it. So the day arrives, I show up, I'll never forget, I'm in New York, and this group of limousines pull up at LaGuardia, like 12 of them, and it's like, this is heavy duty stuff. All this, security guys get out, and my cameraman's there right by the wing of the plane, and I go up and I shake Mr. Gorbachev's hand, and then I said, can we do the interview here? And his interpreter goes, yeah. He goes, yeah. And the interpreter goes, no. And I said, well, why not? He goes, he has a headache and he doesn't feel like it. I've only spent $40,000. I'm flying the guy private. I just wanted to talk for 5 minutes to some kids. I was not happy. But I said, I'll still get him. He's just not in the right what? State, right? Headache will change. Who's ever been in pain, something massive in pain, and then something got your attention and you went to handle the situation and the pain was gone? Who's already had this experience, right? That's how powerful our focus is, right? So I get on the plane with him, I'm a little frustrated, and I thought, okay, he closes his eyes. So I thought, we're 3.5 hours, I'll get to talk to him. An hour goes by, he doesn't open his eyes. I'm like, holy shit, this ain't gonna happen, right? So I was like, I know what I'm gonna do. I'll start a conversation with his wife and get her to say something he wants to contradict. He'll open his eyes and he'll do it. All guys have this weakness. So sure enough, I start talking to Asia and I have this conversation with her. I'm asking about, the Soviet Union has fallen, now it's Russia, and how it's changed and how people are treating him. And she says a few things and he opens his eyes and goes, bah, 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 in Russian. And the interpreter goes, no, that's not so. My wife, I love my wife, but that's not totally true. And he starts to, so I got his ass. I got him now. I got him talking. So I'm glad we get to talk now. And I said, before you close your eyes again, I said, I just have one question. It's the reason I flew you on this plane. I want to get the answer to this question. You, sir, participated in one of the most significant events of the last century. You participated in the Cold War. I want to know what ended the Cold War. And he looked at me, and he could understand a lot more English than he lets on. And the guy's interpreting, but I could see he's already processing what I said. And then he starts to talk, and you know when someone's talked about something, they've said it a million times, they get kind of a sing-song to their voice, you know what it looks like, right? And so, and he goes, well, it was really the end of demonization.